My name is Jonathan Archer, and I've never been one for theatrics. Emotions are a weakness. My father used to say, that man, Austin Archer, was forged from steel. He built an empire from nothing and protected it like a fortress. He was composed, calculating, and whether I wanted to or not, I absorbed every principle he instilled in me. Quietly, thoroughly, even while swearing I'd never mirror his coldness. If you'd asked me a decade ago whether I believed in fate, I would have dismissed the notion. But now, walking headfirst into a storm I never anticipated, I can't help but feel he somehow foresaw all of this. Scarlett and I married in our early 20s. She radiated energy and warmth, and I consider myself lucky to call her mine. We had a daughter, Willow. I invested time, effort, and every available resource into being a reliable husband and father, even when the shadow of my father's disposition followed me. 2.5 decades of marriage. That a lifetime of memories, arguments and forgiveness, routines and quiet moments. I never realized how fragile that foundation was until it all unraveled in a single, ordinary moment. It started on August 27th, a regular day. The heat was relentless, the sunlight baking the city with intensity. Work felt manageable, deals finalized, meetings wrapped up early. I decided to surprise Scarlett, thinking about planning a getaway for our upcoming 25th anniversary on September 1st. I never expected to come home to a moment that would fracture everything I thought was solid. When I entered the kitchen, Scarlett stood near the counter, and Willow sat calmly at the table. Their expressions hinted at rehearsed words, yet they were silent. I set my briefcase down and gave a casual greeting. "What's going on?" I asked. Scarlett gestured to the chair across from them. "Jonathan, please sit," she said quietly. Willow looked smug, almost like she was enjoying it. "Dad, we need to talk." I sat down, keeping a posture practice calm, arms on the table. "All right, I'm listening." Scarlett drew a breath before speaking, her voice even but resolute. "Our anniversary is coming. 25 years. Jonathan, I need something different. I've been reflecting on what I want, and while I'm not unhappy exactly, I need change. I want to explore other experiences." "What kind of experiences?" I asked, tone measured. Willow jumped in quickly. "Mom wanted an open marriage," she said, her voice bright, almost proud. "And I think it's great. Everyone does it now, Dad. Sex doesn't mean the same thing anymore. It's about trust." That last word, trust, hit me like a slap. I turned toward my daughter. "Are you seriously saying modern couples do this all the time?" She nodded confidently. "You're just being traditional. Love today isn't about monogamy. It's about letting each other be free." A quiet flame lit in my chest, but I kept my composure. Turning back to Scarlett, I asked calmly, "Is this truly how you feel?" She hesitated. "I'm not miserable, Jonathan. I'm just tired of the routine. Sleeping with the same man, doing the same things. I want something new." The cold way she put it knocked something loose inside me. I wanted to walk away. Instead, I stayed seated, tapping my fingers, an old habit from my Ranger days. "Breathe. Don't crack. So this is the plan? You date around while I sit at home playing housekeeper." Willow rolled her eyes. "You can date too. No one's stopping you. Though it might be a bit tougher for you, let's be honest. You'll need an app or something." She laughed. Scarlett joined in softly. They thought it was funny. Then I asked the question that mattered. "Is there already someone in the picture?" Scarlett's hesitation was brief. "Yes, it's James. James Smith. He owns that bistro on Avenue Street." Willow clapped her hands. "Oh my God, Mom. Your taste is chef's kiss. He's so hot. I totally support this." I felt something tighten inside. James. I'd entertained business clients at his restaurant, and now apparently he was entertaining my wife. Still, I kept my voice calm. "So this is premeditated. And Willow, you're fine with your mother dating James?" She shrugged, amused. "Obviously. Don't be ancient, Dad." I stood up and walked to the sink. Let the silence stretch. They seemed confused by how calm I was. Then I said, "Scarlett, this isn't just a whim. You understand the implications?" She gave a slow nod. I've never been more certain. I shut off the tap. Fine. I'm in. They froze. Willow grinned. You'll agree to the open marriage? Yes, with one caveat. Willow folded her arms. No conditions, Dad. That's manipulative. I turned to face them both, voice firm. I set the terms. This house is mine. Your mother signed a prenup, insisted on by my father. If you two want your little arrangement, fine, but the rules are mine. If that's not acceptable, find another place to live. Scarlett's face shifted. That confident gleam in her eyes dulled slightly. Willow tried to laugh it off. Dad, legally, this house is half hers. Scarlett raised her hand. No, Willow. He's right. I signed the prenup. The property is Jonathan's. I noticed a faint panic creeping into Willow's features. But you're not going to kick us out, right? I didn't answer. I walked away, letting the weight of my silence do the work. Later that evening, I stood just outside the kitchen, listening. Old habits, I guess. Willow whispered. He's bluffing. He loves you too much to follow through. Scarlett sounded less sure. You don't know your father. He can be relentless when he's provoked. He's ex-Army, remember? Yeah, but that was years ago. Scarlett's voice softened. I've heard some of what he did. It was enough. Willow scoffed. He's just a bitter old man who's about to get schooled. They had no idea. Afghanistan had changed me. I'd buried the colder parts of myself under boardroom etiquette, but those instincts had just been reawakened. The next morning, I met with my longtime lawyer, Ron Jeremy. Despite the name and the jokes that came with it, Ron was razor sharp. We'd been friends since college. I trusted him. I explained everything. I want a postnup, one that tightens every loophole. She can have her open marriage, but she'll understand exactly what that means. He raised an eyebrow. Why not just file for divorce? Too easy, I said. I want them to feel the consequences. Ron smirked. You've turned into your father. I smiled faintly. Maybe. Now let's write something airtight. We drafted a postnuptial agreement outlining financial boundaries, ownership rights, STD screenings, clauses regarding children born from outside relationships, and a strict ban on anyone, especially James, entering my home. Ron skimmed it, whistled. You're not just drawing a line. You're building a fortress. I'm reminding them what consequences look like. 2 days later, we sat in his office. Me, Scarlett, Willow, and Scarlett's new lawyer. Leah, tall and composed, with an icy stare that grew frostier as she read the document. When she reached the last clause, she slapped the papers down. This says if Scarlett files for divorce while participating in this open marriage, she forfeits alimony, the house, any share of the business, and she cannot bring any partners, James or otherwise, into the marital home. Scarlett frowned. Jonathan, that's extreme. No financial support. If you walk out for someone else, I said evenly, you pay your own way. This just reiterates what we already signed before marriage. My father's prenup laid the groundwork. I've just clarified the details. Willow scowled. This is humiliating, Dad. You're treating her like trash. No, I replied, locking eyes with her. Your mother is free to do whatever she wants. You told me love isn't about money, so I'm sure she can handle her own dates. And if James is the catch you say he is, I'm sure he won't mind footing the bill. She was sharp, capable of engaging in thoughtful discussions about international markets and the intricacies of business management. People around us stared, some puzzled, others smirking, but I paid them no mind. That night was about sending a message. If Scarlett and Willow thought I was too outdated to attract someone, I intended to disprove that assumption. News traveled fast. By the time I got home the next morning, Willow was already in the living room, yelling loud enough to shake the walls. You went out with James's daughter? She shrieked, fists clenched, her whole body tense. Have you completely lost it? I casually slipped off my jacket, unfazed by her melodrama. I brought a consenting adult to a charity event. I replied evenly. Your mother just spent the night with James at a hotel, didn't she? She's free to do what she wants. So am I. Her eyes lit with fury. That's disgusting. She's my age. I met her glare without flinching. So when your mother dates younger, it's empowerment. But when I do it, it's perverse. Interesting how your morals change depending on who's involved. She opened her mouth to retort, but couldn't find the words. With a frustrated huff, she spun around and stomped back to her room, the one she'd grown up in. Scarlett, for her part, said nothing that morning. Her face was pale, her body stiff with tension, and she left the house for errands with a smile so forced it might as well have been stapled on. She clearly didn't want to start a fight, but the storm wasn't over. It finally hit full force a weekend later. I was in the living room, reading over some financial reports, when Scarlett came storming in, her eyes red and puffy. Fury etched into every line of her face. Willow trailed behind her, arms crossed like a shield. Scarlett planted herself in front of me. "I want to end this open marriage," she snapped. "This has gone too far. You're humiliating me in public, parading around with James's daughter. I didn't agree to this circus." I looked up at her calmly. "You're the one who asked for an open arrangement, Scarlett. This is exactly what that means." She slapped a handful of envelopes onto the coffee table. "I'm done, Jonathan. My own daughter is watching this train wreck, and I can't stomach it. I can't look at you flaunting some younger woman while pretending we're still a team. I want this over. Now." Willow jumped in immediately. "She's right. This was never the deal. You're making a mockery of everything. You're embarrassing us." I held back a laugh. "The deal? You mean you thought you could announce an affair, expect me to stay home, keep funding everything and never respond? That I'd just stay quiet while your mother enjoyed her new romance on my dime? Did you really think I wouldn't push back?" Scarlett's voice trembled, caught between anger and regret. This wasn't supposed to turn into a battle. "I admit it. I made a mistake. I don't want James anymore. I just want to go back. Can we undo this? Pretend it never happened?" I crossed my legs slowly. "No, we're not closing anything." Her brows knit together. "What do you mean?" "You wanted this arrangement. Our post-nup states it stays open unless both of us agree to end it. I don't. So it continues." Scarlett began to shake. "This is just revenge. You're doing this to punish me." I shrugged. "You made the request. You don't get to revoke it just because it stopped being fun for you." Willow stepped forward. "Dad, please. She's clearly not okay with this anymore. Can't you just be decent about it? Did you ever love Mom?" I looked directly at her. "You think love is unconditional, do you? Where was your mother's love when she asked to humiliate me in front of the world by taking up with another man? Did either of you once think about how I felt in all of this?" Silence. Neither could answer. I stood, grabbing my wallet. "I've got plans." "Don't wait up. I've got a date tonight." Scarlett's expression crumbled. Willow looked like she wanted to scream, but the words caught in her throat. I left, the front door slamming behind me like the punctuation on a final sentence. 2 days later, Willow tried to confront me again. She cornered me in the hallway as I was heading to the kitchen. "Mom cries every night," she said sharply. "She's miserable." I kept walking. "Miserable because her plot didn't work out? Are you concerned about her well-being? Or just annoyed you have to witness it?" "Both," she said, stepping in front of me. "Dad, just stop seeing Maria. Either fix the marriage or end it, but stop torturing Mom." I sidestepped her and kept my tone even. "You had no problem when I was the one being publicly humiliated. Or was it fun for you to watch your father get reduced to a doormat while your mom played house with her boyfriend?" She winced. "That's not what it was. It was about her freedom." I turned, cutting her off. "Spare me the lecture. I'm done paying the price for your little empowerment fairy tale. By the way, how's that lease car of yours? Didn't the contract expire soon? Who's renewing that?" She blinked, thrown off by the sudden shift. "Dad, you know I can't afford that." Then figured out. I said flatly, "I'm done bankrolling your life. Same goes for your credit cards and tuition. Get a job, or find someone else to fund your lifestyle. Maybe James. Or whoever your mother's seeing next. Could be charitable." Her face went pale. "You're not serious." You can't just cut me off. I'm your daughter. I calmly placed my coffee mug on the counter. You chose your side. Now live with the outcome. She clenched her jaw. So you're going to make me beg? Try working, I said coldly. You ever hear of that? She stormed off, eyes brimming with tears, shouting, You're a monster. 2 weeks dragged by. Her bills started stacking up. Between her car lease, student loans, and no real income, she floundered. She spent her days glued to her phone, probably hoping I'd cave. Eventually, it blew up. One afternoon, I came home from work to find Willow waiting on the porch, furious, crying. She shoved a letter in my face. They're taking the car. They sent a notice. You can't just let them take it. I need it. I can't just skip class or show up somewhere riding a bus like some kind of joke, she snapped. I let out a slow breath, stepped past her, and unlocked the front door. If taking public transit bruises your ego, that's on you. She trailed me inside, arms flailing in frustration. Dad, you always said you'd support me through college. That money wouldn't be something I had to stress about. Now you're just going to go back on that promise. Turning to her with a scowl, I replied sharply, I agreed to cover your expenses on one condition, that you show me some basic respect. But instead, you and your mother thought it was fine to treat me like a fool. So yes, I'm done. If this new setup doesn't suit you, there's the door. Her voice pitched upward. I don't have the money for all this. I barely got $300 in my account. I continued into the living room. Then I suggest you hit up your mother's boyfriend. Maybe James has some spare change. Or the next guy in line for her affection. Willow gasped like I'd slapped her. That's incredibly mean. I offered a cold, tight-lipped smile, just embracing the modern lifestyle. Sweetheart, you and your mom wanted freedom. Well, welcome to it. She slapped the couch arm in fury. Why are you being so vile? A new voice cut through the tension. Yes, Jonathan. Why? Scarlett stepped out from the hallway, arms folded tightly, her expression brittle. She glanced between Willow and me. Why are you making us both pay for this? I turned to face her. I'm not punishing anyone. I'm just done rewarding betrayal. Scarlett looked at Willow, who was close to breaking down, then softened her tone. Will baby go upstairs? Let me speak with him. Willow threw me a glare full of venom before pushing past her mother and stomping away. Scarlett waited until we were alone. Then she faced me fully. That's enough, Jonathan. You've made your point. This open marriage nonsense was a mistake. But now you're just being cruel. She's your daughter. She didn't understand what she was inviting in. I shrugged. She's old enough to meddle in adult decisions. Old enough to bear the outcome. Scarlett's fist balled. Fine. Handle her how you want. But you and I, can we please speak like adults? She swallowed hard. It's over with James. Turns out he's a smooth-talking coward. He's already bailed. Last couple of dates? Canceled. So congrats, you got your wish. I'm humiliated. But can we end this disaster now? And how? I asked. Close the marriage. Let's try to rebuild something. Or at least stop this carousel of strangers and drama. I'll sign anything. My jaw tensed. 2 weeks ago, you said the same thing. And I said no. So what makes you think I've changed my mind? Tears shimmered in her eyes. Because I can't keep living like this, she nearly screamed. Seeing you with Maria, she's the same age as Willow. I can't take it. It's tearing me apart. Let's just try again, even if it's not perfect. I stared at her, unmoved. You wanted this. You opened that door and propped it open. Now you want to close it when it's no longer fun for you? We're past that. She dropped onto the couch, face buried in her hands. Her voice was a broken whisper. I don't even recognize you anymore. Where's the man I married? That man disappeared the day you suggested we let other people into our marriage. I replied, my tone devoid of warmth. Then I turned and walked away. Weeks passed. Willow, realizing I was serious about cutting her off, left. She hopped between friends' couches, but it wasn't easy. Scarlett, still at home, fell deeper into herself. She barely dressed, wandered the house like a ghost searching for meaning. I catch glimpses of her thumbing through old photos, quiet tears slipping down her cheeks. One chilly afternoon, she cornered me on the back porch. Her eyes were red-rimmed and puffy. "Jonathan," she said shakily, "I need to tell you something. I've been seeing doctors lately." I glanced over, noticing her frail frame. Her shoulder bones were protruding. "Doctors?" She nodded, drawing a trembling breath. "I tested positive for an STD. James gave it to me. I didn't even consider. I thought." Her voice broke. "It's being treated. It's not deadly, but it's degrading. So, congratulations. If this was your revenge, mission accomplished." Something stirred in me. Pity? Guilt? I wasn't sure, but my voice stayed firm. "I'm not celebrating any of this, Scarlett, but it is a direct result of your choices. You asked for openness. I agreed. You leapt into bed with the first guy who charmed you. This is where that path led." A tear slid down her face. She wiped it with a flick of anger. "You hate me. I get it. I just hope you're being careful with Maria. STDs aren't a joke." I looked away, toward the fence, the trees, the setting sun. Anywhere but at her. "Maria isn't a fling, but thanks for your concern." "You're a monster," she whispered. I didn't respond. She spun and walked away, leaving me with the wind and silence. For a long time, I sat there, the autumn air chilling my skin. A part of me ached for her, for the wreckage she'd become. But another part kept whispering. She made this bed. 3 weeks later, the door slammed hard enough to rattle the frame. Willow had returned. I was in the kitchen, scanning emails. She stormed in, face flushed with rage. "I have overdue student loans, Dad," she snapped. "I can't cover them. You need to help me out." I didn't look up from my phone. "Noah, don't. I made it clear. I'm done being your ATM." Her eyes darted frantically. "Mom's broke. She's barely able to keep up with her bills. And James? Gone. Just ghosted her. She's got no one. I've got no one. Where the hell am I supposed to go?" I set the phone down and met her gaze calmly. "You're an adult now. Welcome to adulthood. You let me drown in debt? You just let your daughter's future get destroyed over a grudge." "It's not a grudge," I said evenly. "It's accountability. You ruined your credit. You backed your mom, mocked me, treated me like an afterthought. And now you want help? Sorry, sweetheart. That old support system doesn't exist anymore." She surged forward like she wanted to hit me. I straightened, muscles ready. "Don't push me," I said softly. "I've been patient. More than you deserve. If you need money, try working harder. Or maybe ask one of those so-called friends you've been couch surfing with. I'm not the answer anymore." "Fine," she hissed. "But when you're old and helpless, don't expect me to come running." I raised an eyebrow. "That won't be necessary. I'll manage just fine." She glared, breathing heavily, then turned and bolted down the hall. Moments later, the front door slammed again. Gone. The weeks that followed were quiet, but heavy. Scarlett kept deteriorating, losing more weight, barely eating. She moved like a ghost, whispering through rooms, never fully present. Now and then, she'd try. A small plea, "Can we talk? Can I make us dinner so we can just talk?" But I never gave in. My focus had shifted to Maria. What began as rebellion had changed. She was driven, focused on her modeling portfolio, full of ambition, but she also listened. She didn't flinch at my past. She never weaponized my trauma. When she asked about Afghanistan, I told her things I'd never shared before. One night, while we were curled up on her couch sipping wine, she looked at me with serious eyes. "I'm pregnant." The world seemed to halt. "How far along?" I asked, throat tight. "About 2 months," she replied, watching my face closely. "It's yours. I want to keep it." A storm of emotions raged inside me. Shock, guilt, wonder. "You're sure?" She nodded. "Yes. I didn't plan this. But I'm ready. I hope you are too." I fought to stay composed, but deep down I knew I wanted this. A fresh start. A chance to be a better father. Free from the past. "Okay," I said finally. "Okay, Maria. We'll figure it out." She let out a breath she'd been holding. "Thank you. I know it's complicated, but I'm not running from it. Neither was I. Not this time. I never set out to make this all about revenge against my father. Hearing James's name made my muscles tense, but I brushed it off and kissed Maria's forehead. Let's not bring him up. Right now, it's just us and the baby. When I got home next, Scarlett was slouched on the couch, glassy-eyed, watching some mindless reality show. She hit mute the second I stepped inside. "Where have you been?" she asked flatly. "With Maria," I replied, already heading upstairs. "Jonathan," she called out, her voice shifting from dull to strained. "I know things got messy, and I've said I'm sorry, but can we figure out what comes next? This in-between is killing me. Either we end this or move forward. I can't take the limbo." I paused halfway up the stairs and turned back. "If we divorce, you walk away with nothing. No support, no property. That's the deal." She gave a weary nod. "I know, but maybe that's better than this hollow version of life." She looked like a ghost of the woman I married. Her hair had lost its luster, her face drawn and pale, dark circles shadowing her eyes. For a brief moment, I remembered the vibrant young woman I once loved, and a flicker of sorrow passed through me. But it didn't linger. "We'll discuss it," I said coolly and disappeared upstairs. 2 months later, Maria went into early labor and delivered our son, Kevin. The chaos and beauty of new fatherhood wrapped itself around me, pushing everything else into the background. Scarlett, Willow, they faded. I started stepping back from work, passing duties to my senior team, focusing instead on our small family. Kevin gave me purpose again. Soon after his birth, I proposed to Maria. I wanted our son to have stability, a family in every sense. She said yes. I insisted we sign a fresh prenup before the wedding. It was a modest ceremony, private, just the way we wanted it. I chuckled to myself. Maybe I was becoming my father after all. But this time, I understood what he was trying to protect. Still, Scarlett hadn't completely vanished from my mind. One night, she called. Her voice was hoarse and trembling. "Jonathan," she whispered, "I think I made a mistake. I don't feel well. I want to see you. Please." I didn't hesitate. "Call your parents. Or a doctor if you're sick. I'm not that person for you anymore. I have a newborn to take care of." There was silence, long enough to feel the crack in her composure. Then she broke. "I hate you," she sobbed and ended the call. That was the last conversation we ever had. I filed for divorce weeks later, told Rhonda to handle it fast and quietly. No courtroom fights, no dragging things out. She delivered. Scarlett signed the papers without resistance. She vanished not long after, probably back with her parents. I didn't ask. I focused entirely on Maria and Kevin, building something real from the wreckage. As for Willow, I heard through the grapevine she'd taken a job flipping burgers at a fast food joint. Curiosity got the better of me one day, and I stopped by that same McDonald's. I didn't speak to her, just watched from a distance. She moved quickly between the grill and the counter, ponytail swinging, cheeks flushed from the heat. She looked, all right, stronger. Maybe having to work had finally taught her some independence. I left with my meal in hand, saying nothing. But for a fleeting second, I felt a strange pride. She was standing on her own now. That meant something. Still, I kept my distance. The space between us felt permanent. 5 years passed. Kevin was full of life, a bright spark in our home. Maria and I lived simply, peacefully. I never tried to reconnect with Scarlett or Willow. Sometimes I wondered if I should, but I was too deeply invested in the life I'd built to chase closure in the past. Word drifted to me now and then. Willow had changed jobs, moved into her own apartment, slowly chipping away at her debts. Good. That struggle would teach her what money never could. Then, one quiet Sunday, the phone rang. Kevin and I were on the floor, sorting his crayons and paints. Maria was out on the patio, enjoying the sun with her coffee. The caller ID startled me. Scarlett's father. I answered. "Hello." Silence. Then his voice, heavy and subdued. "Jonathan, Scarlett passed away last night." My heart jumped. "What? How?" "She'd been staying with us for a while," he said slowly. Her health had been in decline for months. That infection she got from James, it never fully cleared. There were complications. She was in and out of hospitals. Last night, she just didn't wake up. I stood frozen, clutching the phone, throat tight. I'm sorry, I said. I'm sorry. He sighed softly. We'll manage. I just thought you should hear from us. Thank you for calling. I murmured. He said nothing more. A pause. Then the line went dead. I lowered the phone and stared at it for a while. Kevin was still kneeling, carefully coloring the wings of a paper airplane. Outside, Maria was humming gently, her coffee steaming in the morning sun. And there I was, caught in the quiet weight of finality. I thought about Scarlett's last days, her fading light, her tears, the anger, the loneliness. How often had she whispered my name into the dark, cursing it, mourning it. I felt a tangle of emotions, regret, sorrow, relief, even guilt. But most of all, I felt the immovable truth. Some decisions mark the point of no return. Once crossed, there is no rewinding. I set the phone down, placed a hand on Kevin's head, ruffling his soft hair. He looked up, beaming. Dad, want to see something cool? I forced a gentle smile. Yeah, buddy, show me.